Welcome to Bariatric Business Accelerator, the podcast created for busy weight loss practitioners and their teams who want to systematize, simplify, and accelerate the growth of their existing or new weight loss practice. I'm your host, Carol Clark, and I'm excited to be here today to talk to you about a topic that can really help so many practitioners get out of a rut or get out of a feeling of like, oh, am I making progress or am I not making progress? This is so frustrating. We all know in business there's going to be ups and downs, and sometimes we need to focus on the progress that we've made versus always measuring ourselves against what our ideal is far down the road. So we're all interested in making short and long-term goals, which is very understandable, but sometimes we can focus so much on the longer term goal and looking at how far we have to go that we really forget to acknowledge and give credit for what you've accomplished already so far. So I have three practices I'm working with. I'm working with a lot of them, but three of them in particular, I've had this issue with. So we were talking and there's been frustration about, we've got this goal, we haven't really quite gotten there. And some I've been working with for just a very brief period of time and some for a longer period of time. But no matter what, when we take a look at how far they've come, it's an eye-opening experience. And it's because we're all high achievers. We all have so many things that we want to accomplish that we just sometimes struggle with giving credit where credit's due. So there's been lots of different ways to describe this. And I know people call me an optimist. Sometimes someone recently said, I think you're just one of those people who always lands on their feet. And it's not that I always land on my feet. It's just that I always figure out a way through. So when there's challenges thrown my way, I may have if something goes not as I expected, I may have a pity party, but it's for a very short period of time. And then we just have to move on. We have to learn from that and we have to grow from it. I'm listening to, I'm an Audible, I listen to Audible books all the time, like one a week or so. But right now I'm listening to one with Dan Sullivan called The Gap and the Gain. And what he describes it as is people sometimes measure themselves against the gap for this long-term goal that they may have out on the horizon. It's always moving farther away from you versus the gain, seeing what they've gained already. And it really can help change your perspective. So as an example, I have a practice that was brand new and they had to do some construction, opening up a new location. And so initially there was, you're operating, you're planning so that you're profitable, but it started out a little bit slower, which does happen for new businesses. But they were really kind of frustrated by it. So of course, I'm a metrics person. I make sure everyone's tracking their financial, any of their new patients, where they're coming from, all the things for marketing and also for financials. And when we look at that, sometimes you're just looking at month to month. So you're looking at your monthly P&L, you're looking at your monthly results from your marketing. What I really encourage you to do is put it into a way for you to see it side by side, month by month by month, because that way you can see the progression. And it's amazing. When we went back and looked, it really was just 2 months where there was not profitability. When we put it all together, there's been steady incremental increases. I do the same thing with bariatric surgeons, looking at their number of cases or taking a look at their profitability and looking at ways to help their practice become more profitable. So we can put that in all sorts of, spreadsheets. We can put it in different tables, all that sort of stuff. But the important thing is to track as you progress and really take into account the progress that you're seeing each month, even if you haven't met that long-term goal. So we want to keep that in mind. So whether you call it the gap in the gain, whether you call it just a problem solving, being optimistic, but the bottom line is the numbers just don't lie. So oftentimes when you're going through those frustrations, we can take a look at what it is that you're doing. Perhaps it's you've finally gotten out on your own, you've got your own space, you've got a team under you, whereas before you just had couple of part-time people or you had just VAs, and now you've got this great team. And the momentum, once you recognize that, it gives you added momentum to keep going and to actually progress at a much faster pace. It also shows it's what's working well, what's not working well, and we do more of what's working well. And it ends up being really not only an exercise in figuring that out, which to me is just exciting, but it also then gives you that excitement, that momentum to keep going and to celebrate where it is that you've come from. So if you're frustrated with your lack of business growth or lack of profitability or not being able to pay yourself as much, or maybe you're humming along awesome, but you've got this goal of something new that you want to implement that is going slower than maybe that you anticipated, we want to take a look at what you've accomplished in the historically over the past few months, and then map that out and really see that progress. It'll give you momentum that sometimes is definitely unstoppable. And it also helps your team celebrate the hard work that they've been doing, because in most practices, they want to succeed. They want you to succeed. And so we want to keep that moving. If that's not the case, if they don't act as if they're like owners and they want you to succeed, then they might not be the right people on your team. But that's a podcast for another time. So anyhow, that's my message for today. It's to take a look at how far you've come instead of always looking at how far you have to go. And it really makes a difference. It helps increase just all of your excitement. It helps keep you moving in the right direction. It gives you momentum. It also helps your team tremendously. So anyhow, if you have any questions about that, or you can put comments down below, or if you wanted to just have a chat about something going on in your practice, you can always email me, Carol, Karol, at weightlosspracticebuilder.com. If you're not a part of Bariatric Business Accelerator, please join bariatricbusinessaccelerator.com. And at the very least, make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. And I appreciate you listening, and I'm grateful for everyone in this community. And we've got some good, exciting things coming up. So stay tuned and have a great day.